Welcome back to our conversation about public education with Keri Rodrigues, president of the National Parents Union and a Massachusetts native. Keri, your group does a lot of polling, and one of your most recent polls showed 69% of parents support the continued use of statewide tests. That's the highest level of support you've measured in your polling in quite some time. Why?
I think it makes sense. You know, we've had an unprecedented challenge around education, but we also saw all of this playing out in our living rooms. And, you know, I think, you know, some of the illusion that parents had that, you know, our public education system was fine and they got it handled and we didn't have to worry about anything really kind of fell apart when we saw what our kids were getting during the pandemic. So now more than ever, parents are information hungry, but we're also very anxious as to whether or not we're addressing learning loss with urgency. And so we need data to be able to make good decisions about how our kids are doing. And so to me it makes sense because we understand that report cards are not reliable. They don't tell us everything that we need to know about our kids. They're really just a snapshot of what a teacher is seeing in a very small portion of time in that particular classroom. But the long-term impact around proficiency is critical, and we know that.
Well, meanwhile, I had a right-wing acquaintance of mine recently ask me with a straight face what I thought of the fact that in every third-grade classroom around the country, young children are being indoctrinated into transsexual lifestyles. What's going on with that?
Yeah, that's not happening. You know, we have been deeply distracted by things that come from both the left and the right around these different issues that really don't have anything to do with what parents and families are really concerned about. You know, again, concerned about whether or not our kids are safe at school, whether or not they are mentally healthy, because we have a lot of issues with depression. We're having a crisis around chronic absenteeism because our kids are so depressed that a lot of them aren't getting to school, they're fighting in the hallways, all of this stuff, you know? And we can also see very clearly that our kids aren't reading proficiently. Like here in the Commonwealth, we brag about the fact that we are like this bastion on the hill about excellence in education. About 38% of our kids in Massachusetts are proficient at the third-grade level in reading. 38%. Now, it's a tragedy that that is the highest in the nation, but that's what we're proud about, and we as parents know that. We can see that. Like, I can sit with one of my sons and know that he's struggling at the end of 6th grade to write a sentence, you know, and just because I'm not an educator does not mean that I am not able to express that concern. Unfortunately, with a lot of our educators, we're being told not to worry. You know, time is really ticking away here.
One more thing before we run out of time. You've mentioned school safety a couple of times during this conversation. In the Boston public schools, the police were pulled from the schools in the summer of 2021. There are voices within the city that have been clamoring to have them return to the schools, but it's a highly charged issue. Do you think that's a good idea, police in the schools with proper training, or not?
I think it varies community to community, and I think it's what the police are charged with doing. I think there are many situations where we are over-policing schools, and the school-to-prison pipeline starts in the school. You know, we are sometimes criminalizing behavior that is not criminal activity or wouldn't be criminal activity if there wasn't a police officer there, and unfortunately that is subjecting our kids to the criminal justice system at a very early age and disproportionately impacts children like mine. On the other end, you know, if you are actually in conversation with parents and families, there is deep concern that our children are not safe. And a lot of that comes down to classroom management issues, school management issues, and whether or not we have qualified staff in the building to actually keep kids safe. So my suggestion is that folks really need to be in deep conversation and listening to parents and families around what they're concerned about, instead of just prescribing from fancy glass conference room tables what they're going to do to us. We're willing to be in conversation with you. Many of us actually went to these schools and understand deeply and profoundly these issues. We can be a part of the solution and should be.
Keri, we're out of time, but even my tiny brain is absorbing a consistent message from you, which is that parents don't feel heard by the education system. Fair to say?
Well, that's why we are always polling, because there are so many people who want to speak for us and set an agenda around what's important to us that are not in conversation or community, and they miss the mark, and that is why we continue to make bad decisions. What we do is constantly be in conversation with parents and families. We are parents and families and have this lived experience. We've been through public schools, but we also quantify it with data. So I don't want to hear anybody talking about how parents and families feel unless they bring that data and information.
If people want to find out more about your group, how do they do that online?
NationalParentsUnion.org. We're everywhere.